Hey guys, so this is the first lesson for the YSP second grade curriculum for the spring semester. If this is your first time teaching a YSP lesson, this is a good one to start with. The materials aren't crazy, the concepts aren't too hard. If you've already taught some lessons, this is also a good one to introduce the rest of the concepts for the rest of the semester. It is material science, but it's basically just describing different materials and their properties, which also goes hand in hand with some of the stuff we do about matter later on in the semester. And matter is a completely new concept to all of the second graders, so just have them thinking about materials is a good way to get into it. So this lesson is called What Makes a Good Umbrella? And basically what it is you get 5 umbrellas with holes cut out in them, and you get a bunch of materials to give to your kids, and they have to group up and try to figure out how to patch up the holes in the best way. So one way that you could start this lesson is reading this book called What If Rain Boots Were Made of Paper. However, all of the second grade TAs usually run out of time for this lesson, so it's up to you whether you think you should read the book or not. Sometimes your classes are way more advanced than others and you run out of time, so you might pick and choose when to read the book or not. In the folder of lessons, there's always, or there's almost always, something that looks like this. That's the 5E format of the lesson, and something that looks like this. That's basically just the content. I would look through both of them because sometimes the information isn't the exact same and there might be different ways of doing it, and you can decide from there. And this one generally just has more like random thoughts or additional tips. But to go to the 5E one, these are the materials you should have: umbrellas with holes, the materials to patch them. This originally said duct tape, so if you get duct tape, try to switch it out because it's extremely hard to cut duct tape that fast, and your kids will constantly be coming up to you asking you for more tape. Worksheets, which I don't know what these worksheets are, so we might have worksheets in the next spring, but as of right now, there are none. We just write in our science journals. Spray bottle with water and trash bags, that's to put on the floor if you're doing this inside. However, I would recommend testing the umbrellas outside of the classroom, if possible, outdoors, so that you don't get any mess inside of the classroom. So this lesson asks them to think about the materials they interact with and helps them understand different materials and their properties. Here's a picture of the umbrella with holes and them patching them up. And this is a TA that's kind of pouring it on top of the umbrella. So if you want to take a cup and kind of fill it up that way, you can do that. Or there's a spray bottle, so you can just spray into the holes. TAs have done both and both have worked. So whatever you choose, whatever will be the best should be fine. So to go to how I kind of teach the lesson, normally I make my title just one word because the faster they write down the title, the better. And then I just ask them what materials are. And I know they've heard this word before, but I just ask them to describe what they might think it is. And then I explain that materials are used to make other things that you see in everyday life. So I go back and forth between these two slides: a material is a substance used to make something, and then slides like this, as well as this one. And I'll just ask them, what material is this ruler made out of? Or what material are these scissors made out of? And have them think of wood or metal. And once they do that, I can see that they've gotten it. Then I talk about specific words, and normally I ask them to define all of them. So I'll define all of the ones right here, and then I'll say, okay, these are all the opposites, because the words absorbent and brittle are a little bit new to them. So I'll say brittle is the opposite of flexible. What do you guys think it means? And then they raise their hands and answer that. So that's a good way to get them thinking about it. Then I have them write down the question, asking them which material they think is the best. I have them predict, and after I say that, fill in the blank with your prediction, I tell them that maybe these are good properties to have for an umbrella, because you'd want an umbrella to be waterproof, flexible, and strong. And they kind of come up with that themselves too. But as you can see, I have the question fully written out and the prediction with like one word blank. That's because my kids are not at the level where most of them where they can come up with their own sentences. But if you see that they can, I would definitely encourage you to structure their sentences less and let them be more creative. So then I give them, let's see, there's some pictures here. I give them their umbrellas with holes and I give them pieces of the material so you can see they have plastic wrap. And a problem that I ran into the first time I did this is I gave them really big pieces of tape and then they just covered the holes with the tape, which is not the point. So the second time it took way longer because I was constantly ripping off little pieces of tape. But that way I emphasize to them that they cannot put the tape on the hole. They can only use the tape to put down the material onto the umbrella, and then they seem to get it. So there's that. And then this is them kind of outside. They love this part and me spraying them with water, and they get so scared of the water too. That's me spraying them with water and them hiding, I guess. And then something I didn't do, but I think would be really useful is that a lot of times they can figure out which materials might seem waterproof or what seem easy to work with, but the way that the umbrellas turn out is usually the ones that were taped on the best end up working the best as opposed to it testing the actual material. So something that I would definitely do in the future is just take four pieces, like one piece of each material, and spray it, not attached to anything else, and ask them to observe what happens to it independent of the umbrella so that they can grasp that concept a little better. And I just gave one material to each group. I did not let them choose because that would lead to fighting. And I always emphasize that it's not a competition and they're just trying to learn, and that usually goes pretty fine. And then the conclusion, it could be different for one class. One class might say aluminum foil and the other might say bubble wrap, and that's okay. Um, the the main point is that they understand like that a waterproof, flexible, strong material might be better for an umbrella than a piece of paper that's not waterproof or a piece of cardboard that's not flexible. So that's that. If you have any other questions about this, feel free to reach out to me, Shreya, or any of the other coordinators or second grade TAs, and we'll try to figure out how we can make this lesson even better next time.